Georgia Ferret Williams was born on September 7, 1995 in Shropshire, England. She was described by everyone as a caring, intelligent, and very polite girl. Georgia lived with her father, Stephen, a police officer, her mother, Lynette, and her older sister Scarlett. She also had a boyfriend named Matthew. Georgia and her family were very close and loving to each other. She always came home early and never left without letting them know where she was going and who she was with. In addition to being a perfect student at school, she was also a cadet in the Airborne Training Corps and dreamed of one day becoming an Air Force paramedic. She loved playing sports, was described as having a vibrant personality, and was adored by all who knew her. Once she was old enough to work, Georgia took a part-time job at a local gas station and quickly made friends with all her co-workers. Among this group of friends was a boy named Jamie Reynolds, aged 23. He had been Georgia's sister's classmate. Her family were customers of the gas station, so they already knew Jamie and described him as a quiet and polite boy. After some time, Jamie began to take an interest in Georgia, making his feelings more apparent. Georgia told him that she wasn't interested in dating at the moment and that they could continue to be friends. Although Georgia didn't share the same feelings, that didn't stop the girl from spending time with him. She continued to be always polite and friendly to Jamie. As a child, Georgia felt left out by her peers, so she knew that feeling very well. She didn't want to ignore the boy, so being the kind of person that she was, she always made sure that Jamie was included in conversations by treating him very kindly. Jamie worked full-time at the gas station, and in one of their conversations, Jamie told Georgia that he wasn't very happy with the job and that he had a strong interest in photography and intended to pursue a career in the area. Georgia encouraged him to follow his dream, just like she did with all of her other friends, and she offered to help him in any way she could if he needed it. Jamie asked Georgia if she wouldn't mind posing for some photos, saying he would use the photos in his portfolio. She was very excited and agreed to help him, so Georgia and a few other friends arranged to go to Jamie's parents' house to do the photo shoot. On May 26, 2013, Georgia was having a barbecue at home with her family and didn't feel like going to Jamie's house anymore. But as she had already arranged and Jamie lived a few minutes from her house, she decided to go anyway, thinking that maybe it would be very quick to take the pictures, and in a short time, she would be back. Georgia then went to her room to get ready, change her clothes, and put on her leather jacket. Around 7:30 p.m., she left to find Jaime and her friends, telling her parents that she would be back as soon as the photo shoot was over. Georgia had always been responsible and reliable, so her parents agreed to let her go, not least because Jaime's house was only a 5-minute walk away. About 3 hours passed, and Georgia still hadn't returned. Her mom, Lynette, texted her, asking if everything was okay and what time she would be home. Georgia replied by saying that once the session was over, she would be chatting with her friends a little longer and didn't know what time she would be coming home. She told them not to worry about her and ended the message with 3 kissing emojis, as she always used to do. Since Georgia had always been very responsible, her parents trusted her and went to sleep. However, the next morning, around 6 o'clock, her mother, Lynette, woke up and went to Georgia's room to check if she was okay. But the girl hadn't arrived yet. Very worried, the young woman's mother decided to send another message, asking where she was. Only around 7:30, Georgia replied, saying that she had stayed with her friends and lost track of time. She explained that she forgot to let them know earlier and ended the message by saying that her battery was low. Georgia also had 2 commitments that day, a music festival and her first driver's license class, which her parents were sure she wouldn't miss. Since she didn't show up all day, her parents assumed she had gone straight from her friend's house to her appointments. But another night passed, and Georgia still didn't return. 2 days passed, and no one had seen or spoken to the young girl, which left her parents extremely worried. Despite all this concern, at first they thought that their daughter was having a rebellious episode, and that was why she was ignoring them. They decided to look for her at the homes of friends and acquaintances. But no one knew where the girl was, and they hadn't seen her for several days. When her parents found out that she didn't even show up for her driver's license exams, which she was very excited about, they decided to inform the police about her disappearance. Her boyfriend, Matthew, made a desperate Facebook post saying she was missing and begged for any information that could help to find her. Georgia's parents shared everything they knew with the police, that their daughter had gone to Jaime Reynolds' house for a photo shoot. When the police checked Jaime's background, they were in for an unpleasant surprise. In 2008, when Jaime was 17, he was accused of trying to smother a 16-year-old girl after luring her into his home on the pretext of helping him with a project. A youth mental health services team visited Jaime's home at the time to look into the situation further, and his parents revealed that the boy had an obsession with violent adult content and choking. They also told the team that they found several disturbing photos in Jaime's room of girls, on which he had drawn uniforms and placed bells around their necks. At the time, the team found that Jaime represented a risk to society, but the police took no action and said the case had already been resolved. In 2011, Jaime again drew attention when he purposely chased a female colleague's car after she said she didn't want to date him. The police also didn't investigate his situation or link Georgia's disappearance to the case that happened in 2008. After checking his history, the police decided to go to Jaime's house, but no one answered the door, and there was no car in the garage either. The police managed to contact Jaime's parents, who were on holiday, and they didn't know where Jaime was, but passed on the make and plate of the boy's van. After that, a search for the van began. By checking security cameras and recognizing Jaime's license plate, police were able to verify that he had been at a hotel nearly 300 miles away in Glasgow, Scotland. In the camera images, he always appeared alone. In the hotel parking lot, he was seen quickly changing clothes next to his van. Shropshire police contacted Scotland police, and Jaime was taken in for questioning. In his statement, he claimed he didn't know anything about Georgia's whereabouts. So far, the police couldn't prove anything. Because of his history, Jaime was arrested and taken back to Shropshire for further questioning. However, he chose not to cooperate with the police and would say absolutely nothing, denying all allegations. The police returned to Jaime's house, the last known place Georgia was likely to have been. There, they found Jaime's camera, and after a brief investigation, they discovered that someone had tried to wipe the memory card, but had failed. The photos on the camera revealed something extremely cruel and disturbing. Georgia was forced to climb onto a box with a rope around her neck, and then Jaime kicked the box, causing the girl to be hanged to death. She was photographed like this all over the house, and after he was done, he abused her dead body by photographing the entire act from start to finish. On his computer, 16,800 images and 72 videos of inappropriate and grotesque content were found. Jaime's parents said that he started consuming this type of content at the age of 14. They tried to stop him from accessing sites of this nature by cutting off his Wi-Fi, but Jaime got his own Wi-Fi without his parents knowing. They also found a notebook with 40 stories of Jaime doing terrible things to girls, including a story about Georgia, which detailed exactly what they saw in the pictures. Cops believed he wrote the story before luring Georgia into his house. Despite all these discoveries, Jaime pleaded not guilty. The officers took the boy into custody and later drove to Georgia's parents' home to deliver the sad news. Stephen and Lynette said that as soon as they opened the door, they knew their precious daughter was no longer alive. They were extremely upset. Jaime was charged with the crime, but he refused to say where Georgia's body was. According to Detective Hopwood, Jaime was playing with the police. The police began to formulate a timeline of Jaime's journey in the days after Georgia's disappearance, and security cameras were instrumental in helping to locate the body. The day after the disappearance, Jamie was seen on camera at a gas station, filling up his van. At that moment, Georgia was already dead, and her body was in the back of the vehicle. Jamie drove to Wrexham, left his van parked with Georgia's body in it, and stopped to watch a movie at the cinema, the same movie he had tried to convince Georgia to watch with him. It was one of the Fast and Furious sequels playing at the theater. After that, they couldn't find any more footage of him, so the police issued an appeal to the public. They asked anyone who saw Jamie's van between 5 p.m. and 10:30 a.m. in Wrexham to get in touch. Several people responded. One of these individuals said they helped Jaime get his van unstuck on a road and provided the location where it happened. On May 31st, 5 days after her disappearance, authorities found a female body. After dental analysis, it was confirmed to be Georgia Williams. Stephen, Georgia's father, also helped with the body identification. She was found naked and hidden in a wooded area near Wrexham. According to the police report, Georgia was killed between 8 and 9 p.m. that night. Police believe Jaime left the town of Glasgow around midnight. Jaime Reynolds was officially charged with murder, but he continued to deny any involvement in the case. On December 2nd, 2013, Jaime's trial took place. Stephen, Georgia's father, said he saw Jaime before entering the courtroom. Jaime was laughing and joking, as if he had no regrets or empathy for the destruction he had brought upon the young woman's family. However, before entering the courtroom, his behavior quickly changed, from mocking to meek and childlike. On December 19th, to the relief of Georgia's family, Jaime Reynolds pleaded guilty and confessed to the entire crime. He received the severest possible sentence allowed in Great Britain. The judge stated that Jaime was a potential serial killer and a danger to society, and that if he were released, he would definitely commit similar crimes again. Jaime was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, becoming the youngest person to receive such a sentence in Britain. In 2014, Jaime wanted to review his sentence, but had his request denied. Georgia's parents said the sentence would mean nothing to him, as he would still be able to see and speak to his father and mother, while they would never see Georgia again. An investigation was also conducted into how Jaime's previous attacks on other girls were handled by the police. 6 West Mercia police officers were cautioned for misconduct. Georgia's parents said that if the police had done their part, their daughter would still be alive. After what happened to Georgia, Steve, who worked as a police officer, decided to quit, as he said he lost confidence in the police. Georgia Williams's memory was honored by the local community. They raised over £2,000 for a memorial bench to be made for her. Her family also started the Georgia Williams Trust, a charity that helps young people pursue their passions and dreams through grants and partnerships. A tribute to Georgia. Well, guys, that's it for today. Thanks for watching until the end. Best wishes, and I'll see you next time.